We have some breaking news now, interrupting that conversation with Ian Bremmer. Some sad news. Star Wars actress Carrie Fisher has died. The 60-year-old actress suffered a heart attack back on Friday. She spent the holiday weekend in the intensive care unit at UCLA Medical Center.
Now, Fisher has had a decades-long career in Hollywood, but was best known for her role as Princess Leia in the acclaimed Star Wars franchise. Ben Tracy has more on her life.
If money is all that you love, then that's what you'll receive.
When the world first got to know Carrie Fisher, she was already royalty. Princess Leia in the 1977 film Star Wars.
Ben Kenobi, where is he? Come on.
She went on to play the iconic role 3 more times, including just last year in The Force Awakens.
Our system is the next target.
How do we blow it up? There's always a way to do that.
Han's right.
You know, I think you got exactly the same eyes as your mother.
Her career in Hollywood spanned more than 4 decades. She flirted with Warren Beatty in Shampoo.
No, and my eyes aren't winkers either.
They are.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I'm
really
nothing
are.
like my mother.
And was Meg Ryan's gal pal in When Harry Met Sally.
He just spent $120 on a new nightgown for his wife. I don't think he's ever going to leave her.
No one thinks he's ever going to leave her.
A radiant bride and a handsome groom, Debbie and Eddie, are finally Mr. and Mrs.
Carrie Fisher was born into show business in 1956, the daughter of singer Eddie Fisher and actress Debbie Reynolds. In her semi-autobiographical book, Postcards from the Edge, Fisher wrote about her relationship with her mother. It became a hit film starring Meryl Streep and Shirley MacLaine.
Remember my 17th birthday party when you lifted your skirt up in front of all those people?
I did not lift
including
my
that guy
skirt.
Michael.
It twirled up!
Fisher became a prolific author, sharing her struggles with bipolar disorder and drug addiction. In 2004, she told CBS Sunday Morning that writing was better than real life.
Life doesn't fall out like an entertainment. It really doesn't. And I like being able to make it go the way that I want. Since I haven't been able to do that in my actual life, please let me do it in the way that I write.
Carrie Fisher was 60 years old. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The breaking news here on CBS is that Carrie Fisher has died at the age of 60. Joining us now on the phone is Jennifer Peros. She's a senior news editor of Entertainment Tonight. We also have Abraham Riesman, a former A-writer for the New York Magazine, joining us both. It's the news we didn't want to report today after knowing that she was suffering after a heart attack on Friday. Jennifer, to you, what do we know about Carrie Fisher's health over this past weekend since that flight from London to Los Angeles?
Yeah, so what we know is, of course, that she had suffered a heart attack on a plane coming from London to LAX on Friday. What we had heard on Friday is that she was not breathing for about 10 minutes. They had been doing CPR on the plane, and as soon as they landed at LAX, they had rushed her to the hospital. And there were mixed reports over the weekend whether she was in stable condition or whether she was in critical condition. And there were some mixed messages that had come out from the family in the beginning. And then, of course, we're learning this morning that she had passed away at 8:55 Pacific time in Los Angeles, so just a little over an hour ago. So what we had known and some medical experts that we had spoken to is, when someone would not be breathing for at least 10 minutes, the chances of survival were very slim. Now we're just waiting for details to see how these last couple of days of Carrie's life were, whether there was any good chance of survival, on Friday or Saturday, right now we're just waiting for more details to come out. But yeah, another tragic loss, another loss in 2016. I think everybody's just waiting for this year to be over.
Yeah, Jennifer, we talked about that on Friday when this news broke, how tough of a year it has been. And we're looking at pictures. Carrie Fisher really was Hollywood legacy, Abraham. I mean, just the Star Wars movies alone would be enough, but she had a 5-decade career. Can you give us some sense of the legacy that she leaves behind?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, first off, what horrible news, especially, like you said, after that close call a few days ago. For geeks like myself, this is a pretty devastating blow. And the reason is she was a truly groundbreaking protagonist, and she is one of the protagonists there in the first Star Wars and throughout the original trilogy. You know, we talk about Luke Skywalker, but honestly, a huge reason why people watched those films and enjoyed them was the humor, heart, and delightful sarcasm and condescension that came through Leia Organa, the character that she was playing. She was something unlike any other female. She offered something unlike any other female performance in space operas like that had been seen before. And, you know, she then went on to have this very long, incredible career that spun so far away from science fiction. I mean, Postcards from the Edge is wonderful. Her one-woman show was terrific. And she even had this wonderful memoir that came out this year. She was a real visionary when it came to sci-fi, but also to talking about mental illness and talking about Hollywood.
Talk to us more about that, Abe. She used her fame and her platform to put a spotlight on an issue many would shy away from, that being of mental health. How much attention did she bring to it? And even in the most recent press tours for the Star Wars sequels that are coming out, how much has she continued to do that?
She never let go of that in the best possible way. I mean, just to make it personal for half a second, I too have bipolar 2, and she was one of the first people I ever saw speaking publicly about it. I mean, even before I knew that was my diagnosis, that was something that I was aware, her words were something I was aware of in terms of describing this particular illness. And after I got diagnosed, you know, I went back and looked at a lot of the work that she'd done, and not only did it provide strength, it provided a humorous perspective that didn't feel like it was belittling the topic. And she did use her fame as a platform to speak about it and also to speak about treatment. It wasn't just talking about, oh, woe is me, this is such a difficult thing to deal with, which is an important thing to do. She also spoke about how she had gone through electroshock treatment, and she had tried lots of different medications before she could figure out what worked for her. And oftentimes when people talk about mental illness, they don't get into the nitty-gritty and often slightly humiliating details, or at least not socially acceptable details, of how you live with that and how you get better. And that was something that took real bravery on her part. And again, she was able to do it with this soupçon of humor at all times, which kept you gripped and reminded you were talking to somebody smart. It was really something.
Yeah,
God bless her for that.
You know, you mentioned on a personal note, and you had said how, as Princess Leia, to young girls out there, and I was one of them watching those movies, we had never seen anything like it, and it really was wonderful to watch. And I know obviously the character changed over the years. Jen, I want to go to you. Her impact on Hollywood and on others, we saw some of this on Friday, some of the outpouring, and we're seeing some of the scrolls as well. But what are you hearing from the Hollywood community now?
I mean, I think most of the Hollywood community, I mean, if you just pulled up your Twitter feed right now, every single celebrity that you follow or even don't follow is just, I think, really mad at this point of how many incredible actors and actresses and singers we have lost in this year. And Carrie definitely hit home. She was a favorite to so many celebrities in the entire world. She had so many different connections, whether it was her ex-husband or her mother, her daughter. And, you know, especially for Carrie, this is a woman who's famous for decades, but recently just got this resurgence, and people recently, you know, saw her again so much on her book tour, and it's such a compelling book that she wrote. We just got used to seeing her again recently. So this news is definitely a huge blow. It's incredibly sad. And I think for the next couple of days, you know, while we mourn Carrie, while we mourn George Michael, I think, you know, again, like I said earlier, a lot of people are just ready for all these famous people to just stop dying already, because it's like enough already. You know, Mia Farrow of Cross have said, oh no, you know, Carrie wasn't done yet. She had so much of her life yet to still keep living, and I think that pretty much sums up this huge loss in a nutshell.
Yeah, Abe, let me ask you, we've referenced it, this has been a horrible year, it seems, for the music world, for Hollywood, the acting community. Is it just being in the moment, or is this a worse year in the losses that we're seeing?
I'm no statistician, but from what I've read, there have been some breakdowns in the past couple of days about whether this was a statistically significant deviation, and apparently it was. This was a particularly tragic year for high-profile deaths. And I would add that it's not just that these were people who died who were beloved, but in a lot of cases, they were specifically people who were beloved because they presented either alternative definitions of gender expression or alternative visions of sexuality. You know, these were people who often deviated from the norm. You know, you have your George Michaels and Prince and Alan Rickman, who, even though he, you know, was not a huge counterculture icon, I mean, Harry Potter is deeply beloved by a lot of people who felt marginalized and ostracized, and he was somebody they looked up to. And, you know, that's, as you said, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, and then General Leia in The Force Awakens last year. She was somebody that there was no character like her beforehand. It was a subversion of the ingenue, damsel in distress concept, and it's really a loss to not be able to see her in the third Star Wars sequel. They were finished filming her parts for Episode 8, which comes out next year. But, you know, that's going to be the end of it, unfortunately.
And now she joins other entertainment giants who we lost in 2016. Actor, author, and mental health advocate Carrie Fisher is dead at age 60. Abraham Riesman and Jan Peros, thank you very much.